identify people in the audience tonight?
We don't know yet, but also be here at the end.
We know that roughly 117 of you booked in advance.
And only 7 of you booked tickets at the door. We know the room I'm standing in is about 10 metres wide, 22 metres long, and about 8 metres high.
Ooh, we know the floors are blackish, greyish kind of colour.
We know that the seats are uncomfortable.
We know that backstage, some parts of dressing rooms haven't been cleaned in a really long time.
Ooh, we know that there are 8 of us on stage.
We know if you add our ages together, it would make a number greater than 150.
But smaller than 200.
We don't know your ages.
Do you know that later, when the lights on the stage fade, there'll be a clicking sound as the metal of the lanterns begins to cool?
We know that on the back seat D19 or 20, someone has scratched something with a penknife maybe, or a pen that's not working, or with a piece of glass, not writing, just a few horizontal lines.
We know, at the back of the room, to the right, there are some inexplicable marks on the floor.
We don't know what caused those marks.
And we don't know how they got there.
We don't know the right word for the colour of the walls.
We know that the temperature on stage is 20 degrees.
We know there are no windows.
We know that the air conditioning's off.
We know that if all the doors are sealed, there'd only be enough oxygen to last a group of people this size for about 2, maybe 2.5 days.
We know that some of us suffer from claustrophobia.
And we know that one of us is particularly frightened of the dark.
We know that some of us are frightened of spiders.
And moths! That 2 are frightened of snakes and moths! That 2 are frightened of heights!
That several people go queasy at the sight of blood.
That 3 are uneasy about
Some fall like screaming on roller coasters. That 2 are frightened of the shadows.
that 6 are uneasy about flying.
We know the difference between frightened and easy. We know our own names.
We know each other's names.
We know each other's nicknames, past and present.
In some cases, we know your names. Michael's here, Ali is Dad. We know that you're a small group of the Wingrove family here. Tony, Sonia's boyfriend. Lauren, Abby's older sister.
Other people's names we know from the box office.
Mr. Avillard and Miss Clayton.
Mr. Willis?
We know which of us have brothers and sisters, and which of us have living parents. We know about our own grandparents, in the sense of living or dead, but we're hazy about the grandparents of others in the group, and hazy about other relations, cousins, aunts, uncles. We know that none of us have a twin.
We know which of us has boyfriends and girlfriends, except in a few cases where there might be some ambiguousness or some kind of secrecy.
We know which one of us might identify as gay, except in a few cases of ambiguousness or some kind of secrecy.
know which of us will stay here in England, or which of us might move away.
We don't know if you came from far away or nearby. We don't know which of us will be happy. Or which of us will have kids. We don't know which of us will live life in tragedy.
We don't know which of us sold his soul or her soul to the devil.
We don't know which of us will work in an investment bank.
Or earn money taking off clothes. Or waiting tables.
We don't know which of us will end up sleeping in the doorway.
Or sleeping on the beach.
We don't even know which of us will be rich.
Or which of us will end up being poor with a particular educated guess.
We don't know which of us is going to have a lot of difficulty through illness or accidents.
We don't know which of us will have good luck.
Or which will have bad luck.
Or which will have good luck disguised as bad luck.
Don't know which of us is going to fall on ice.
Or get our hands caught in machinery.
Don't know which of us is going to have big car crashes.
Or which will have small car crashes.
We don't know which of us have had rinse rashes.
Or which of us might become addicts to something.
Or which of us will win money on the lottery.
We don't know which of us will discover something new. A new planet. A new dimension. A new branch of mathematics.
We don't know which of us will die first.
We don't know which of us will still be alive in 10 years' time,
Or in 10 minutes' time.
or in 20 years' time.
Or in 50 years' time.
We know that Amy's brother has a motorbike.
We know which of us has a good sense of humour.
No Tiga comes on the Nokia phone.
We know which of us laughs easily and argues the hardest. We know that when someone stops you in town asking change for a train for home, they're probably lying. We know that when an automated phone system says that you have 7 line that you call is very important, is also a lie.
We know that politicians lie.
We know how things work.
We know what people tell us.
We know what time it is. We know that Kiara and Abby are friends.
We know that Kiara and Abby used to be neighbours.
We know that it's not a good idea to hang out at the railway station at night.
We know that in many cities, the rich people live on the hills or facing the sea, and the poor people live in the valleys.
We know that in many cities, the traffic chokes the centre, polluting the air, making it hard to breathe, especially in the summer. We know that alcohol leaves some funny stuff happening. We know that some kids like to fight.
We know that the sun sets in the west, rises in the east.
But none of us have been to Africa.
We know that none of us has been to Hong Kong.
We know none of us has been refused entry to another country because of these irregularities or because of criminal records.
We know that none of us have regular dealings with police.
And we know that some of us have had trouble with people living in the same street or building, and that some of us have had trouble with various local shopkeepers.
We know that one of us has been excluded from school at one time or another. We don't know so much about you,
We don't know who you are, or where you've come from,
or why.
we don't know if you're trusted, or if you're troublemakers.
For the most part, we don't know if you came here by chance, or if you've just been planning it for a while.
We don't know if you came from far away or nearby. We don't know if we're loners, drifters, or travellers.
We don't know if you're hard workers or lazy fools.
We don't know if you're comedians, bus drivers, office workers, teachers,
We don't know if you pay your taxes.
or if you cheat on your taxes. We don't know if you're racist, or if you're kind people, or if you're murderers, or if you play football on the weekends, if you like to cook or work in the garden. We have no clue. We don't know a thing. We don't know if you're superstitious, if you go to church, if you keep your fingers crossed behind your back when making promises, or if you're into witchcraft.
We don't know if any of you have a criminal record.
actually members of the police.
We don't know if you're an undercover cop. Maybe looking for someone in the audience.
Or perhaps your police undercover following us as part of your investigation.
Though, we do think that's pretty unlikely. We know you were there, and we know you are watching.
We know what's happening in this room.
We don't know what's happening in this room.
We're pretty sure we know what's happening in this room.
We don't know what's happening in this room.
We're not completely sure what's happening.
We have no idea at all what's happening.
We're confident we know what's happening.
We don't know what's happening in this room.
We're pretty sure we know.
We can feel your attention and your inattention.
We know that you are looking with your eyes.
We know that the light from the scene enters your eyes through your pupils.
The iris changes the size of the pupil depending on how bright the light is.
Opening and closing like a shutter.
The lens focuses light from the scene onto the back of the eye.
The retina.
The retina is a sense of massive neurons with photoreceptors which change light signals into electrical ones.
We know that these signals are processed by the brain. We know that if you look right into someone's eyes, you can't tell what they're thinking.
We know that if you look right into someone's eyes, you can tell them.
We know that when you look into someone's eyes, you can't tell what they're thinking.
We know that sometimes, on really specific occasions, if you look really deep into someone's eyes, you can tell.
You know that when you look into someone's eyes, you can't tell what they're thinking.
We know that sometimes, on really specific occasions, if you look really deeply into someone's eyes, you can get the impression of what they're thinking.
We know that sometimes, on really specific occasions, if you look really deeply into someone's eyes, you can say to yourself you know what they're thinking.
We know when you look really deep into someone's eyes, you can't tell what they're thinking.
We know that if you look deeply into someone's eyes, you can take a guess as to what they're thinking.
We know when you look deeply into someone's eyes, you can't tell a thing about what they're thinking.
If you laugh, we hear it. If you cough, we hear that too.
Any other movements, we also hear.
Except very small ones, of course.
All very slow ones.
Like the tiny movement of your eyelashes.
Or the steady movement of your breathing.
We know that silence and stillness are a sign of concentration. We know that you are listening.
We know that sound travels more slowly than light.
We know that sound waves produced in air is moving.
When the air is mechanically disturbed,
We know that sound draws the human eye.
taking it from one place to another. We know that sound waves enter the human ear through the ear canal, making the eardrum vibrate.
We know that these vibrations pass through a set of bones in the middle ear. Moving the fluid in the inner ear, turn these cells into nerve impulses.
These nerve impulses sent to the brain by the auditory nerve, and it's referred to what people hear and understand as sound.
You can most likely hear us speaking that way. Or perhaps you're watching our lips move and working out what we are saying from the movement of our mouths.
We know that most vocal sounds are made by a stream of air that flows from the lungs through the mouth and nose. We use the stream of air to form specific sounds by changing the movement of our mouths.
You know, typically, people tend to think before they speak.
People don't start talking for no reason without thinking.
They spend time considering thoughts or ideas they may want to convey. We know that after this initial kind of interior reflection comes a task of word finding, in which the person chooses the right words to articulate all the things that they are thinking.
We don't know what you're thinking, though. We don't know
We know the warm and the dark of the theatre can make it tempting to sleep, to fall back, let the darkness fall around you. We know you're out there,
Watching.
the neurons in your retina turning what you see into electrical signals to be processed by the brain.
We know for sure that you're there, in front of us.
But what's happening behind us we can't be so sure of.
Technically, somebody could cross to the back of the stage, slowly, quietly, and we wouldn't be aware of it.
Unless we set up a camera.
Or we could just look behind us. You know, what's happening backstage is also completely out of our grasp. We just won't know about it unless someone coughs, maybe, or yells, or drops something heavy.
Or unless somebody breaks something, like glass, or crockery, or a mirror, or something metal.
We don't know what's happening in the foyer right now either.
Or under the stage.
Or in South Africa. Or in the car park.
Or in Paris.
Or on the outside of the street. Or on the other side of town.
Or on Mount Everest. We don't know what's happening in Glasgow. Or in Porto. Or in the toilets downstairs. Or even in Barnstable.
We don't know what's happening under the stage. Or behind the scenes of Black Rock. Or Kinshasa. Or in Bosnia. Or Palace of the Moon. Or in Faro. Or even at the bottom of the ocean. We don't know what's happening.
We don't know what's happening in the International Space Station.
We don't know anything about the International Space Station.
We know that the International Space Station is the largest artificial body in Earth's orbit, and from here, from the Earth, you can see it with the naked eye.
The ISS is the same size as a football field.
An American football field.
It weighs the same as around 300 play cars, but we're not sure what type of cars.
We know it's up there.
We don't know much about the International Space Station.
We do know that the ISS has been up there for 197 months, and it has these large solar panels maintaining an orbital altitude of 380 kilometers and completing 15.5 Earth orbits a day. We know it's been the longest representation of human presence since October 2000.
You can see it with the naked eye. We don't know what it'd be like to be up there.
We don't know what it'd be like to spend a 6-month exhibition up there. We've only fought 600 people. We don't know what prison would be like.
Also, it's very confining. We know a bit about the passage of time.
We don't know so much about the passage of time.
We know a bit about spending time with other people. We don't know much about spending time with other people. We know about time with family and such like, or time at school.
And we know a lot about our own time.
And we know a lot about time with each other.
About time talking and time falling around. Sometimes even time sleeping.
You know, sometimes time seems to go slowly, and sometimes it seems to go faster.
Time seems to go slowly sometimes, or waiting for news, or waiting for people to arrive.
Faster during periods of excitement.
Slowly during boring events.
We know that the human sense of time is linked to the movement of the Earth. Its rotation on its axis, which produces day and night. Its orbit around the Sun, which takes a year to complete.
We know that the human heart beats faster than a person's excited.
Physical exercise, sleep, anxiety, stress, food and drugs all change the human heartbeat.
We know that the average human heartbeat is 60 to 100 beats per minute.
We know that this performance is around 3,375 heartbeats and around 60 minutes in clock time.
Unless something goes wrong. In which case, the performance will be longer or shorter.
Duration changes if people say things they aren't supposed to say.
Or if someone skips 10 pages.
Or jumps to the end.
Or if someone looks backwards at the text and something that should be said gets repeated perhaps a number of times. We know that sometimes in rehearsals we've got stuck in a loop.
And in those loops, it sometimes takes a little while before anybody realises what's happening.
We know that these loops happen when a sentence doesn't go to a new place, but instead takes us back to where it's already been.
And in loops, time seems to go slowly.
And sometimes it seems to go faster.
You know the performance lasts about 60 minutes.
Unless something goes wrong.
For example, if someone says something they're not supposed to say.
Or if something that should be said gets repeated. We know that in rehearsals we have got stuck in loops. And in these loops it's sometimes been a little while before anyone realises.
But eventually, usually, somebody does.
We know roundabout now is probably the hardest part of performance. Know what the parameters are, the rules, the possibilities. The stall of it all is all laid out. It's clear what we can do, the kinds of topics that we can stretch to. We know that you've seen enough to generate our capacity, that we're not pulling rabbits out of hats anymore, but rather walking the borders of a space that has its limits.
We know that Enya's favourite TV show is Tattoo Fixers.
We know that Sean's favourite game is FIFA. We know that out of everyone here, the best person at running is Abby. We know that Enya can only play 3 songs on the guitar. We know that Beth's favourite book is 50 Shades of Grey. We know that Tegan can dance. We know that Abby likes to dance, but can't really. We know that in the best bedroom, she can hear the sound of next to neighbour's tumble dryer. We know, everyone here, the most likely person to cry in any situation is Tegan.
We know that Sean's bedroom is never dark because she has fairy lights.
You know, Enya sometimes takes boys up to her bedroom so she can crawl around. We know that Alia claims to have never had sex. We know Tegan shares a bedroom with her brothers. We know that Alia shares a bedroom with her sister. That Sean made marks on the bathroom wall.
But Enya is a good person to talk to about the things they're missing in the kitchen, in her house, where she lives.
We know that there are some private things, a diary and so on, hidden in the cupboard of Abby's sister's room.
And the most used number on Tegan's phone is 07652101002.
don't know whose number that is.
We know that where you are, when the seats are all occupied, you're sat closer together than we are.
We know the distance between us and the stage is around 60 centimetres.
We know that when the seats are all full, you're sat more or less shoulder to shoulder.
We know that from where we are standing and from the first row, it's roughly 2 metres.
We know that from where we're standing to the back of the stage, it's about 3.5 metres.
We know a sprint can cover that distance in 0.2 seconds.
We know a spine can spin a web from here to that wall in about 45 minutes.
We know that there are 8 of us, and more or less 125 of you.
We know that the world's population is around 7.2 billion, and the world's landmass is just under 150,000 square kilometres.
We know that if this space was divided equally, each person would get about 21,000 square metres each.
We know the space on Earth is not divided in this way.
It's more unequal.
Some have space, others have none.
It's just like some people have money and others have nothing.
We know, although people criticise inequality, this doesn't really need to change.
You know what people say, just always reflect on what they do.
People's actions don't always match their principles.
And the smooth running of the world should depend on these facts and they're not too explicit. True facts should not be made too forcefully or too often.
We know that some people get off on hurting others.
On exerting power over them, directly or indirectly. We know that some people are assholes and idiots.
We know that some people are
We
selfish.
know that some people are big mouths.
And it's hard to get taxis in early mornings.
We know you can't trust boys.
We know you can't trust girls.
We know you can't trust boys or girls.
We think we can trust you. We know that we can't trust you.
We're not sure if we can trust you.
We know that sitting there in the dark watching us talk, you let your eyes and your attention wander.
We know that you're probably just pretending to focus on the stage whilst doing other things.
We don't know if you're daydreaming.
Or if you're drifting off.
We don't know if you're paying attention.
We know that things that seem like a bad idea when you're sober start to seem like a great idea when you've been drinking.
We know that sometimes people cling to the fact because uncertainty or questions are too much to bear.
And we know that rain and snow both fall downwards unless there's wind.
We know the Second World War is over.
We know the Trojan War is over.
burns when exposed to too much sunlight.
Or radiation.
We know that if you eat too much, you get sick.
Or fat. We know that in darkness, you can't see anything. We know that items linked on my computer are rarely actually deleted.
We know that some people cope better with stress than others.
We know this morning the pound slipped against the dollar.
And the FTSE index slipped a little too.
That the euro stayed stable.
That Xerox took tumble.
That stocks in Apple took a fall by 0.3 cents on the share.
That there was a rise in the price of oil.
The rise in the price of grain.
We don't know how the stock exchange is moving.
We know that the most damage from a nuclear weapon comes from an explosive blast. A shockwave in air radiates outwards from the explosion, producing sudden changes in air pressure. And it's this change in air pressure that can crush objects and at high winds can knock things down. We know that this change in air pressure is what topples large buildings, whereas objects like trees and telegraph poles are blown away by the wind. We know that the size of the bomb blast is related to at which point the explosion took place above ground level.
We know that bombs make a sound.
We know that bombs make a terrible sound.
We don't know much.
We know plenty.
We don't know anything.
We don't know much.
We know plenty.
We don't know anything.
We don't know much.
We don't know anything.
We know what happens, but we don't always know why.
We know that people tend to come closer, or sometimes further away.
We know that bodies change.
Their memories fade.
The economies rise and fall.
Their colours fade.
That muscles waste.
That cities change.
That eyesight blurs.
That stone turns to dust.
That skin loosens.
That lights fade. That uncertainty, once present, rapidly multiplies. We do know that in 85 years' time, all of us here, people on stage, will be dead. And you very likely, you will be dead. And people on the outside will also be dead. People don't want to hear long descriptions about death.
Yeah, they get a bit nervous.
They get nervous if there's too much talk about illness too, for similar reasons, for obvious reasons.
They get a bit nervous if you start waving the gun around too.
They get nervous if there's too much talk about love, but for different reasons. Or if there's too much talk about sex, about penetration,
About pleasure.
or orgasm.
Things that breach a border of a person causes this nervousness. Things that may be called improprieties, especially in public and without the cover of character.
People also get a bit nervous if there's too much talk about race, about politics, or about money.
People don't want to hear long descriptions about global warming and the effects it's having.
You know that easy topics of conversation are things like the traffic of yesterday,
And the sunlight the day before,
the food,
and plans for the summer.
We know that sometimes a difficult conversation is followed with a kind of awkward silence.
Like in a movie when they make a clock tick or a tap drip seem really loud.
Or when silence simply seems nervous, like time itself is scratching the skin, awkward and uneasy. Each second a big, sharp sound.
We know that human animals are different.
But bees are collective, dolphins are intelligent, and rats are resourceful.
We know that dogs are loyal.
That cats have personality. That foxes kill for reasons other than hunger.
We know that spiders cannot swim.
We know that some birds migrate tens of thousands of kilometres, working from some kind of radar in relation to the Earth's magnetic fields, using stars' knowledge of the Earth, navigating through some unknown system.
That some people are better reading maps than others. We know that some of us can't find themselves on a mobile GPS.
We know the behaviour of animals can be changed and conditioned using the consistent application of particular systems of reward and punishment. Rats placed in a closed box, sometimes called a Skinner box, or an operant conditioning chamber, quickly learn that pressing a particular lever is linked with the arrival of food, or with a cessation of an unpleasant electrical current. We know that there's no real difference between the learning that takes place in humans and which takes place in other animals. B.F. Skinner proposed that humans learn behaviour in much the same way as rats learn to press a lever. Skinner believed that human free will was actually an illusion, and that instead our actions are best understood as results of their consequences. If the results of a consequence are good, there's a good chance it will be repeated. However, if the consequence of an action is bad, it's less likely to be repeated into future behaviour patterns. Skinner called this the principle of reinforcement.
We know that time passes.
That time is passing.
We know that things are changing.
We know that things are slowly closing down.
We know that above and below us there is a certain amount of room. From the top of our head to the ceiling, about 2 meters. When start digging, break down, spade, and pick by hand. After about 2,371 kilometers for reaching the center of the earth.
And assuming that we all dig by average 2 meters a day, and depending on the ground we encountered, it would still take us 872 years before we reach the centre or the core.
But of course, while all that's true, we know we'll all be long dead by then, with old age and exhaustion.
We know that time passes.
That time is passing. Time is certainly past. We know that language is a trap.
And a way out of the trap.
That language is both a trap and the way out of the trap.
That language shapes and makes the world we're in.
And it's also a tool to change it.
We know that Abby believes in ghosts.
We know the world will be different if circumstances were to change. Like if the dinosaurs were still alive, or if the water levels rise.
Or if Hitler had not been born. If the Chinese emperor, the Song of Song, had died young. If the Palestinians had landed on the moon first. If Columbus never discovered America. If World War I never happened. And if Nelson Mandela was never freed.
We know that Abby saw a ghost in the corner of the bathroom, standing, watching, waiting.
We know that electromagnetic fields or electric shocks can produce hallucinations.
We know that internet data is under heavy surveillance. We know that chromosomes are made from DNA and that genes are short sections of DNA.
We know that DNA molecules are large and complex, that those molecules carry code, which this determines each person's characteristics.
We know that other than identical twins, each person's DNA is unique.
And we know that some people sometimes get a feeling that something is wrong, a feeling that's not linked to a concrete event.
And sometimes people get the opposite feeling, that things are going to be okay.
We know neither of these feelings can be trusted. We know that some people are optimists, others pessimists.
We know that things change.
We know that things stay the same.
time passes.
That time is passing. That time has certainly passed.
We know that people get feelings sometimes, not think to a concrete thing. We know that some people feel sure of themselves.
We know that some people are good at listening.
And some people watch carefully.
We know that some people close their eyes to concentrate.
And some people make wishes in the dark.
And that some people get a feeling that time is shifting.
And that some people believe the tide is slowing down.
That some people change.
That everyone changes.
That people change all the time.
That time has passed.
The time is moving.
That some people change.
That people are changed.